So let's talk about Polygon. It's back in the spotlight, but maybe not for the reasons you'd think. The network is at this huge fork in the road, a moment that's seriously going to define its future. So let's dive in and break down what's really going on here.
And yeah, that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Are we looking at the start of some massive comeback, a true renaissance for Polygon? Or is this the beginning of the end? A slow fade into irrelevance?
This right here, this is what I'm calling the Polygon paradox. It's a crazy situation. See, on one hand, the tech behind Polygon, it's never been stronger. It's more ambitious, more powerful than ever. But then you look at the market, you listen to the chatter, the buzz, and it just feels like Polygon's losing its grip, you know?
All right, so to really get what's happening, we've got to look past the noise and get into the numbers. What do the network's vital signs actually tell us?
Okay, so first, the good news. On-chain revenue, it's up a solid 15% year over year. That's not bad at all. And if you peek at metrics like daily active users or the total value locked up, the network is still an absolute powerhouse. It's healthy and it's generating real value. But, and this is the crucial part, while those numbers are good, they aren't explosive. They're not what we saw a few years back. It shows Polygon is still a major player, for sure, but that insane near total dominance from 2021, 2022, that's gone. The foundation is solid, but that rocket ship growth, it's kind of stalled out. So even though the growth numbers have flattened out a bit, the whole argument for a renaissance, well, it's not about looking back. It's all about the future. And that future is being built on an absolutely incredible tech engine. This right here is the heart of the bull case for Polygon. And let me be crystal clear about this. From a pure engineering standpoint, the Polygon we're seeing today is a completely different animal than it was a couple of years ago. The team is just executing on this world-class technical roadmap. Now, the centerpiece of their whole new architecture is this thing called the ZKVM Validium. I know, it sounds super complex, but stick with me. In simple terms, think of it like this. You're bundling thousands of transactions together off-chain, and then you create one tiny single cryptographic proof that says, yep, all of these are valid. It's like getting one perfectly sealed, unforgeable receipt for an entire truckload of stuff, instead of having to open and check every single box. It's not just an upgrade, it's a massive leap forward in how you scale. And look, this isn't just a bunch of fancy ideas on a whiteboard. They're actually delivering. Earlier this year, they pulled off the Majugiri hard fork. Now, this was a major network upgrade, and it might have flown under the radar for a lot of people, but it was a huge success. It boosted performance, and this is the key part, it paved the way for the full switch to that ZKVM tech we just talked about. So what's the end game for all this incredible tech? Well, it's something they're calling the superchain. Just picture it, a massive, interconnected web of blockchains, all running on the slick ZK tech, and all anchored to Ethereum for rock-solid security. It's basically an internet of blockchains, built to handle insane scale, with fees that are practically zero. And it's not just a dream. There's a clear plan to get there. You can see it right here. Step 1, finalize that ZK transition this year. Step 2, looking at 2025 into 2026, is to go hard on expanding the ecosystem, getting tons of new chains built with their development kit. And then, the final piece of the puzzle, consolidate everything around the new POL token, unify the whole architecture, and hopefully end all the confusion for good. Okay, so while the engineers have been in the lab cooking up all this magic, a totally different story has been playing out inside the project. And this is where things get messy. Let's pivot and talk about the internal ghosts that are kind of haunting Polygon, and honestly making the case for why it might just disappear. Because while all that great tech stuff was happening, there has been, as our source material puts it, a giant elephant in the room, a huge internal problem that's been causing so many headaches. And yeah, you probably guessed it, we're talking about the migration from the original Matic token to the new POL token. Now, on paper, the idea was solid, right? Create a more flexible token to run the whole superchain ecosystem. The problem wasn't the vision. Oh no, it was all in the execution. And the fallout from that? It's been pretty bad. The communication was, well, confusing is putting it mildly. Every exchange seemed to handle it differently, on its own timeline. This created this huge cloud of uncertainty for users. A lot of people still don't really know what they're supposed to do. So you have this big move that was supposed to get everyone excited, and instead it just ended up hurting the brand.
So instead of unity and hype for the future, what did they get? Confusion, chaos, and division right in the community. It was a totally self-inflicted wound, and it came at the absolute worst time.
Why the worst time? Because while Polygon was fighting with itself, the battle outside was getting more intense than ever. We're talking about a war for attention, a war for liquidity, a war for users. It's a battle for the narrative. And a new challenger has just swooped in and stolen a massive chunk of that spotlight. Base, Coinbase's layer 2. And when you look at them side by side, you see how different their playbooks are. Polygon is all about steady, methodical growth, big enterprise clients, serious, long-term projects. Base, it's the exact opposite. It's all about that retail explosion, meme coins, pure, unfiltered hype. And in today's market, that kind of retail energy, it's like a black hole, just sucking in developers, liquidity, and all the attention, creating its own insane momentum. I mean, this chart really says it all, doesn't it? Base has pretty much cannibalized the narrative that used to belong to Polygon. It has captured the market's excitement and attention in a way Polygon just hasn't been able to in years. And make no mistake, this isn't just about who's getting more buzz on Twitter. This isn't some high school popularity contest. Losing the narrative war has very real consequences. It directly impacts where the money flows, the liquidity. It influences new projects deciding where to build. And it just kills that organic, word-of-mouth marketing momentum that used to push Polygon forward almost without trying. So is that it? Is Polygon doomed? Well, not so fast. Before we jump to any conclusions, we can't forget about the quiet wins Polygon has been stacking up underneath all this noise. Yeah, these are the wins that often get overlooked in all the hype. Their chain development kit, the CDK, it's being picked up by a ton of new projects. Polygon is still the go-to chain for huge brands, for loyalty programs, and for the gaming world. And its DeFi ecosystem, it might not be the flashiest kid on the block, but it's stable and it's moving a serious amount of volume.
So this is it. This is the crossroads where Polygon finds itself. The argument for a big comeback, it's all built on that pioneering tech, a solid enterprise foundation, and a really clear, ambitious plan. The risk of fading away? That comes from the brutal competition, the mess they made with the rebrand, and just that undeniable loss of market hype. It really boils down to a race between execution and attention.
Which brings us to the final critical question. Can Polygon's amazing tech plan actually be executed fast enough to win back the market's attention before it's just too late? Can superior engineering win a war that, let's be honest, is currently being fought and won with hype and memes? That, right there, is the real story of Polygon in 2025. It's nothing less than a high-stakes race against time.